I have to be honest with you. When I first picked up the source material for today, I felt a little bit
Yeah.
attacked. I read the title, The Mountain Is You, and my immediate reaction was just defensive.
Right.
Because usually when we talk about the mountains in our lives, the obstacles, we're looking outward, we're
Right.
pointing at the economy or a terrible boss or just the chaos of the world. But Brianna Wiest, she comes out with this title that basically says, no, put your finger down.
Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror. The roadblock isn't in front of you. It is you.
It's a really confronting title. It feels like an accusation, doesn't it? Like, oh, great, not only is my life hard, but now it's my fault too.
Exactly. It feels like victim blaming. I'm already stressed, and now you're telling me I'm the one doing it to myself. It's a hard pill to swallow.
It is, and I think that resistance you felt is, actually the first step. But here is the twist that usually gets people hooked on Wiest's work.
Okay.
She isn't saying the mountain is you to shame you.
Hmm.
This isn't a book about how you're lazy or broken or toxic.
Okay, so if it's not shame, what is it? Because the phrase self-sabotage, that usually carries a lot of baggage.
Buddhist flips the script entirely. Her core thesis is that self-sabotage, it isn't a product of self-hatred. It isn't even a lack of willpower, which is what we usually tell ourselves.
Right.
She argues that self-sabotage is actually a biological and psychological mechanism of self-protection.
Self-protection, that sounds completely counterintuitive. How is ruining my own chances at success protecting me?
Because to your subconscious mind, the unknown, even if it's a positive unknown, like a promotion or a great relationship, it looks terrifying.
Oh.
It looks unsafe. So you aren't sabotaging yourself because you want to fail. You are doing it because, on a deep, primal level, failing feels safer than succeeding. Failing is familiar.
That is actually kind of mind-blowing. So we're burning down our own lives, not because we hate ourselves, but because we're just trying to stay safe.
Precisely. And that's the mission for this deep dive. We need to stop looking at the symptoms, the procrastination, the anxiety, all of it, and stop treating them like character flaws.
Okay.
We need to excavate the root cause. We're going to figure out how to move from that misplaced self-protection to actual self-mastery.
All right, let's get into the weeds here. How does Wiest actually define this mountain? Because conflicting needs is a phrase that comes up a lot in the research.
Right, so structurally, the mountain arises when you have two needs just clashing against each other. On one side, you have your conscious need. You want to be successful. You want to write that book.
The stuff we put on our vision boards.
Exactly, the vision board stuff. But underneath that, you have an unconscious need. Usually it's a need to stay safe or comfortable or to avoid being seen. And when those two collide, the desire to move forward and the primal need to stay hidden, that friction, it pushes up a mountain.
You want to hit the gas, but your body it's just slamming on the brakes.
That's it.
There is a specific story in the book that I think illustrates this perfectly, and it's about Carl Jung, the famous psychologist.
Oh, I love this story.
I'd never heard this backstory before, and honestly, it explains so much about human nature.
It's a fascinating anecdote. So picture a young Carl Jung. He's a kid, he's in school, and honestly, he's miserable. He hates it there.
Okay.
One day, he's in the schoolyard and he gets pushed. He falls and hits his head hard.
Which is traumatic enough on its own.
Right. He's bleeding, he's in pain. But in that moment of impact, he has this crystal clear thought. Maybe I won't have to go back to school now.
I think we've all had a version of that thought. You wake up with a sore throat and there's that tiny split second of relief. Oh, I can skip that meeting.
Exactly. But for Jung, it went much deeper. Because the injury worked, he got to stay home. But then as he healed, the solution stuck. He started developing these uncontrollable fainting spells.
Wow.
Every time he tried to go back to school or do homework, he would literally pass out. It became a full-blown neurosis.
And people probably thought he was faking it, right? Or that he was just sickly.
He wasn't faking it, that's the key. His body was physically reacting. But years later, he looked back and realized what had happened. He called it a substitute for legitimate suffering.
A substitute for legitimate suffering. That is such a heavy phrase.
It means his brain found a valid excuse to get his unconscious need met, avoiding the misery of school, without him having to consciously admit, I'm scared.
Right.
He created a physical disaster to solve an emotional problem. That is the anatomy of self-sabotage. We create a crisis to avoid a difficult truth.
So we're essentially manufacturing problems because the fake problem, the fainting or the procrastination, is easier to deal with than the real problem, which might be fear of failure.
You nailed it. And this isn't just psychology, it's biology. This ties right into the concept of the homeostatic impulse.
Okay, unpack that for us. I know homeostasis usually refers to body temperature, right?
Right. Your body is like a thermostat. If you get too hot, you sweat. Too cold, you shiver. Your body is obsessed with keeping you in a specific, safe temperature range. Well, Wiest argues your brain does the exact same thing with your mental state.
Okay.
It regulates you to keep you within the realm of the familiar.
But wait, what if the familiar sucks? What if familiar is being broke or in a toxic relationship?
The brain doesn't care about happy. The brain cares about survived. If you've been broke for 10 years, your brain goes, okay, we know how to survive being broke. This is safe. If you suddenly get a windfall of money, that's unknown.
And to the primal brain, unknown equals danger.
Precisely. So if you start succeeding and you're feeling better than you've ever felt, your internal thermostat goes haywire. It says, whoa, whoa, this is too hot.
And it kicks in the AC to bring you back down.
Exactly. To bring you back down to your baseline.
This sounds a lot like the upper limit problem that Gay Hendricks talks about.
It's the same mechanism. We all have an upper limit, a tolerance for how much good we can allow ourselves to feel. When we exceed it, when things are finally going right, we subconsciously freak out.
Right.
We pick a fight with our partner, we get a sudden migraine, we forget an alarm, we sabotage to bring ourselves back down to that comfortable level of misery.
That is incredibly frustrating. It's like we're rigged to fail. I mean, I've felt this. You have a great week. Everything is clicking. And then suddenly you feel this creeping anxiety like, okay, the other shoe is about to drop.
And sometimes you drop the shoe yourself just to get it over with.
Yeah.
Because the anxiety of waiting for disaster is worse than the disaster itself.
Man. Okay, so we understand the mechanism. It's a twisted form of safety. But in the real world, it looks like bad habits. The book lists a bunch of symptoms, and I want to dive into a few because they aren't the obvious ones.
Good idea.
We all know about procrastination, but what about uprooting?
This is one of the sneakiest forms of sabotage because it looks like ambition. Uprooting is when someone is constantly changing their external circumstances. New job every 8 months.
A new city every year.
New relationship the second the old one gets serious.
See, I would look at that person and think, wow, they're so adventurous. They're really living life.
It feels like an adventure. It feels like a fresh start. But Wiest calls this staying in the sprouting phase to avoid the work of blossoming.
Sprouting versus blossoming, what's the difference?
Sprouting is easy. It's the excitement of the new. I'm going to be a different person in this new city. But blossoming requires roots. It requires staying in one place long enough to weather the storms, to deal with the boredom.
To work through the conflict.
Exactly. If you're constantly uprooting, you never have to do the deep, hard work of maturing. You're perpetually starting over.
You're running away, but you've convinced yourself you're running towards something.
Yes. It's avoidance masquerading as exploration.
Oof. Okay, here's another one that I think will trip people up. Judging others. I was surprised to see this listed as a form of self-sabotage. How does judging someone else hold me back?
This is a massive block, especially when it comes to money or success. Let's say you walk around thinking, rich people are greedy, rich people are evil.
Which is a pretty common sentiment.
It is, but here's what your subconscious hears. Wealth equals evil. And since your fundamental drive is to be a good person,
You'll sabotage any chance you have to become wealthy.
exactly, because if you became wealthy, you'd have to become the thing you hate. You are protecting your identity. You cannot be what you judge.
Wow.
So if you judge success, you will keep yourself small. If you judge vulnerability, you will keep yourself lonely. It's a defense mechanism that backfires completely.
That's a really powerful reframing. It makes you want to watch your thoughts a lot more closely. Okay, so we have the symptoms. But beneath the symptoms are the emotions driving them. And this is where the book gets really practical about gut instinct versus fear.
This is the #1 question people have. I want to stop sabotaging, so I should listen to my gut, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, for most of us, our gut is just trauma or anxiety wearing a fake mustache.
Right. If I have a big presentation and I feel like I'm going to throw up, my gut is telling me to run away. But if I run away, that's self-sabotage. So how do I tell the difference?
Wiest offers a stress test for this that I love. It comes down to the quality of the voice in your head.
Yeah.
Fear is loud. It is frantic.
Yeah.
And most importantly, it is future-oriented.
Future-oriented.
It deals in what-ifs. What if I bomb the speech? What if they fire me? What if I end up homeless? It's a movie playing in your head about a catastrophe that hasn't happened yet.
It feels like panic.
Yes. So if you're spiraling about next Tuesday, that's fear. That's not instinct.
Okay.
That is projection. Intuitive instinct is completely different. It is quiet, It is calm, and it is present-oriented. It's a response to what is happening right now in this moment.
Can you give me a concrete example? Because I feel like my fear can be pretty quiet and sneaky sometimes.
Think about walking down a dark street. Your instinct doesn't give you a long monologue about crime statistics. It just gives you a sudden, quiet, physical pull sense of, don't go down there.
Or cross the street.
Or cross the street. It's immediate. It's connected to your vagus nerve. It's your body reading the environment now.
So the rule of thumb is, if it's a story about the future, it's fear. If it's a physical sensation about the present, it's instinct.
That's the golden rule. If you're sitting on your couch, safe and warm, but your mind is screaming about a presentation next week, that is not your gut protecting you. That is your amygdala trying to keep you small.
Acknowledge it, but don't let it drive the car.
Exactly.
I feel like that distinction alone saves so much mental energy. But let's say we've identified the mountain. We know we're sabotaging. We know it's fear. How do we actually climb it? Because the book is pretty firm that we shouldn't wait for a breakthrough.
We love the idea of the breakthrough, don't we? The Hollywood moment where the music swells, you have an epiphany, and suddenly your entire life changes. But Wiest argues that true change is boring. It happens in microshifts.
Boring is a hard sell. We want the magic pill.
We do. But the magic pill doesn't exist. Think of the penny analogy. If I offer you $1 million today, or a magic penny that doubles in value every day for 30 days, which do you take?
My impulse is the $1 million.
Most people's is. But the penny, thanks to compound interest, ends up being worth over $10 million. But here's the catch. For the first 20 days, you have almost nothing.
You look stupid for choosing the penny.
Yes. That is what microshifts are like. You change one tiny habit, you meditate for 5 minutes, you save $10 a day. It feels insignificant. But over time, it compounds into a completely different life.
And this ties into the idea of being anti-fragile, right? Which I think is the mindset you need to stick with those pennies.
Yes. This is a concept from Nassim Taleb, but it's crucial here. We often try to make our lives robust or safe. We try to eliminate all stress. But the human mind is anti-fragile.
Okay.
That means it doesn't just survive stress. It actually gets stronger because of it.
Like the immune system.
Exactly. If you lived in a bubble and never encountered a germ, your immune system would atrophy. As soon as you stepped outside, you'd die. You need the resistance.
So the comfort zone is basically an emotional sterile bubble.
It is. And by staying there, you are making yourself fragile. You are weakening your ability to handle life.
So we shouldn't be trying to create a life with zero stress. We should be trying to create a life where we have the immune system to handle the stress.
Precisely. The goal isn't ease, it's capacity. You want to build the capacity to handle success, to handle visibility.
There's one last piece of the climb I want to touch on, which is releasing the past. The book brings up the white elephant paradox, which I think everyone has experienced.
Oh, it's the classic psychological trap. If I tell you, whatever you do, do not think of a white elephant, what is the massive image in your brain?
A white elephant.
You cannot let go by force. You cannot stand in front of a mirror and scream, I am over it. The more you try to suppress a thought, the more energy you give it.
So if we can't force it out, what do we do?
You crowd it out. You don't let go of the old. You build the new. You focus so intensely on building the new life, the new routine, the new project, that eventually the neural pathways to the old trauma just weaken from lack of use.
It's like overgrown trails in a forest. If you stop walking the path, the grass grows back over it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to start walking a new path, even if it feels unfamiliar and scary at first. And this is especially true for trauma stored in the body.
Right.
You have to reestablish safety in the exact area where trust was broken.
What does that look like practically? Give me a scenario.
Okay, let's say you have major financial trauma. Maybe you grew up poor or you went bankrupt. Your body goes into fight or flight every time you look at a bill. You don't heal that by ignoring money.
You heal it by exposure.
Yes. You look at your bank account every single morning. You track every penny.
Which sounds terrifying.
It is at first. Yeah. But after doing it for 30 days, your nervous system learns, hey, I looked at the bank account and I didn't die. You prove to your body that you are safe in the presence of money.
So you release the past not by forgetting it, but by mastering it in the present.
That is it. It's active healing, not passive waiting.
So as we reach the summit of this deep dive, let's talk about the view from the top. The book talks about the real glow up. And I love this because we live in the Instagram era where a glow up means you lost weight and got a better job.
It's all external. We think the mountain is about proving people wrong. I'll show my ex, I'll show my high school teacher. But Wiest says that true transformation, the real mountaintop, is when you no longer care about proving anyone wrong.
That sounds incredibly peaceful, but also kind of scary. If I'm not performing for an audience, who am I?
That's the question, isn't it?
Hmm,
The real glow-up is when you prioritize how your life feels to you over how it looks to other people.
right.
It's when you stop posting about the hustle and just do the work. It's when you stop trying to convince people you're happy and just be happy.
It's the shift from being a character in a movie to being the person watching it.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
So, what does this all mean for you? It means the obstacle isn't the economy. It isn't your partner. It's that conflict inside you. It's the part of you trying to keep you safe, clashing with the part of you that knows you're meant for more.
And the climb isn't about beating yourself up. It's not about brute force. It's about listening, decoding the fear, and gently, methodically, building a new comfort zone one that's big enough to hold your success.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought to mull over. It's a question that honestly kept me up a little bit last night after reading this.
Lay it on us.
If the mountain is you and the obstacle is actually a need you're trying to meet, what is the one safe problem you are keeping in your life right now simply because you are too afraid of who you would have to become to solve it?
That is the question.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
See you next time.